an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to rise above.
Hello. Welcome to Tiger and Grow.
We are all connected. That is one thing that I know beyond knowing.
Gratitude is something that comes off a lot of times so condescending. One of the biggest things that I hold on to in my life is gratitude. And even for me, who feels its presence and who I feel like I understand it more and more every day, I can still get so annoyed by the concept of gratitude. And I think that the reason lies in the fact that we all know for 100% sure that we have things to be grateful for in our lives. I mean, down from the very, very basic things. If you're watching this right now, you obviously have access to technology. You can say that you are loved. You can say that you have shelter or food or water. All of these things, people kind of nail it into like, be grateful for these things. You know, when I start thinking about gratitude, I like to strip it all down. Of course, there's big things in my life to be grateful for, but I feel like it really helps to start at the things that are like food, water, shelter, because those are things that not everybody can say that they have. And it allows me to live my life and to focus on other things other than the attainment of those things. Why gratitude can come off so condescending is because we all know it at our core that it is true that we have things to be grateful for, every single one of us. However, when it feels like in your world nothing is going right, or that you have nothing to cling on to, or that many things have fallen apart, it can just come off like, well, yeah, like obviously I know I have things to be grateful for. It almost reminds me of like when you're in a panic or you're having kind of like a moment and somebody says, calm down. You're like, okay, like that's easy for someone who's outside of you to tell you, oh, calm down or be grateful. But when you're in it and you really feel it, like, no, I don't have anything, or no, everything is really going wrong right now, it can come off just like very, I keep saying condescending, because to me, that's always how it's felt when people tell me to be grateful for what I do have. When I'm in a moment of feeling like, well, nothing is going right now. How do you take yourself into that place of gratitude? Because to me, it's not just about being thankful just for the sake of being thankful. That's really a cool concept. I mean, I don't think feeling gratitude is anything bad to feel. The reason for staying in gratitude is because creating your life from a place of gratitude is really how you create the things you actually want. If you're in a mentality of lack, or in a mentality of, oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't do what I want to do, then your life is going to reflect that. To me, that's the core of manifestation, is that you have to be coming from a place of love, coming from a place of gratitude to receive the things that you want. And so I see it very practically. It's not just like, oh, I just want to feel grateful just to feel it. It's being in a place of gratitude in order to create in the way that you want to. How, when everything feels like it's wrong, how do you get back into that place? Even though you know, oh yes, I have a bed to sleep in, I have access to water, I have food. How do you get beyond those kind of baser level gratitudes into something where you feel an overall sense of gratitude? And to me, when I was thinking about this, the thing that came to my mind most clearly, I'm somebody who, like most people, has experienced a significant amount of darkness or dark times within my life, starting at a very young age. And I actually went back to that younger me and thought about how I reasoned and reconciled with the negativity and the darkness that I had to deal with. When I think about myself as a child, it was really the birth of my whole philosophy about life. It was a trust that I felt within myself that although everything seemed to really be wrong and it wasn't a good experience at the moment, I had this innate trust, or this innate knowing that life was too intricate and too, like, there's little glimmers of how this is not random. Like, I've always sensed that from the very beginning. The way that things are, there is not just a randomness to it. And I never could ride along with people who thought that way, that like, oh, things just happen and it just happens. Terrible things happen to people and great things happen to people, and it just is what it is. And I just thought, That doesn't make any sense. First of all, the world is too beautiful and too full of magic for this all to just be random. And so the trust that I had, that it just felt like, I call it knowing beyond knowing. Like it felt like knowing something beyond being fact. It's like something I felt. The feeling was just that this is happening for a reason, and not just for a reason, but for my best good, my highest self, my highest potential. Even though in this moment, things feel terrible, or in this moment, things feel like the opposite of what I want. Somehow, this is all a part of something much larger that I can't really wrap my head around. And the funny thing is that over the years, that concept really came into my mind probably when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I kind of just rocked with it. That trust and that faith in the fact that like I'm able to look back now and see and connect dots of how those things that felt horrible really were for my better good. If we can just take something trivial, like perhaps somebody being cruel to me and say, oh yeah, like I deserved it, or they had to be cruel for me to learn this lesson. I don't see it like that. I just see it as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to rise above. So that concept is something that even in the moments where I feel like, wow, like this isn't, nothing is going to plan, or nothing is quite going the way that I thought that it would, I have to feel that sense of gratitude that things are happening, not just for me. I'm not just like my own little being floating around the world, and that's what it is. We are all connected. That is one thing that I know beyond knowing. I feel it, I see it, I know it to be true. We're all connected. And so when I see my brothers and sisters of this planet in turmoil and stress with negative things happening, it feels like it's happening to me. Instead of getting caught up in this idea that things are not progressing or that things aren't getting better, I have to tune into that gratitude that I have, that this is actually all according to plan. One of the challenges I've presented myself with, to see everything as a gift, which has been very hard. I mean, it's not just, as I said, the other people on this planet here with me who I see experiencing darkness and turmoil, but also within my own personal life. There's things that have been so difficult and such a challenge for me to look at it and say, there's a gift in this somewhere. Just because I can't see it now, just because it doesn't feel like that immediate payoff of having like a real, like a gift that somebody gives you and having that immediate feeling of gratitude and love, it's still happening in that way. There's so many things that I can look back up at the course of my life that at the time felt like the opposite of a gift. It felt like suffering, it felt like darkness. And now when I look at it with the perspective of time and the perspective that I have and the way that things unfolded, I'm able to be grateful for those things. Even the most horrible things, honestly. Not in a sense of, we all have our own traumas, and if you experience trauma, it doesn't matter, like don't try to put it in a category of, oh, it's not as bad as this, or it's worse than this. Don't try to categorize it in comparison to other people, because when you feel something as trauma, that's really all that matters, is that it was traumatic for you. I don't want to excuse anybody's trauma or like make it seem less than by saying, oh no, be grateful for that abuse. Be grateful that someone treated you horrible. Be grateful that your life fell apart. I don't want to trivialize it in that way, because once again, that's like a very condescending attitude to have. It's more of being grateful for the perspective that it's given, because you couldn't have that perspective without going through that darkness, that experience. When you're feeling like there isn't anything good to be grateful for in your life, challenge yourself to have the faith that this will be a gift one day. There really is no telling of if that day will be within a few months or it will be next week. I mean, there's things that were so challenging for me a few months ago that I'm able to look back on and be like, thank you for that, because now it's unlocked another part of my heart. It's unlocked another piece of my experience here. And I'm able to move through the world in a way I couldn't have if that didn't happen. Even though at the time, I couldn't imagine how that would be a gift. That is the gift of perspective. If you can challenge yourself, as I am trying to do, of looking at everything within your life as a potential gift, not getting caught up in the drama of seeing the terrible things that are happening in the world or the terrible things that are happening within your own life and thinking that that's all that there is and that life just wants to be hard on you. If instead you kind of take it and understand that somehow you're being set up to rise above it. That the adversity that you experience, the darkness that you experience, is always just trying to force yourself up to your highest self. That it's always trying to create like a cocoon around you so that you can burst forth into a butterfly. And this happens at several different times in your life. It's not just a one-time thing or a two-time thing. Personally, I believe if you're lucky, you're born and you die many thousands of times within your life. Part of letting go and shedding from that old you is going through turmoil, is going through the adversities. Believe me, this is a lot easier said than done. Like, trust me, I understand it's a lot easier to say these things than to live by them. Another part of me that I said, like, I try to look at things very practically, although I am very spiritual and I do have a lot of faith in the things that are beyond me, that I can't see, that I can't touch, that I can't have proof of. Most of me is very practical in how I live my life. And even if it is carrying that sense of gratitude that things are for a larger reason that you can't explain, which to me is the core of every religion and every faith on earth, what does that hurt you just to have that belief? That's not taking anything away from you. That's not hurting you. That's not being dumb. That's not being ignorant. That's just saying, what would it hurt me to carry this idea that everything is a gift? Or that everything is happening for me and that I have to trust it and lean into it and kind of let myself be born into the next version of myself. I hope that this was helpful. I do, that wears on me sometimes when people act just like, oh, be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. Even when I say it to myself, it can get really annoying because I'm like, I don't want to be grateful. I want to resist that part of me because I'm focused on the things that aren't going right, not the things that are. But once again, what's gained in that perspective? What's gained in me looking at the things that I wish that I could change when instead I could have more of a larger acceptance for everything as a whole and then see the things that I do love and move towards that. Be grateful for the things that I do have and that I do love. Seeing my life as a gift. Talk about bare bones gratitude. Taking a breath and realizing I'm alive. I'm here and I'm alive, so there must be a reason. All of the people that pass away, all of the people, they haven't lived as long as me, all of the people who aren't here right now, I am here right now. And for that, I must be grateful because it must be for a reason. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you're struggling at this time to find something to feel grateful for, know that you are not alone. You're never alone. And that this is a common emotion. This is a common thing to feel like you can't find the gratitude in things when it feels like the world is kind of caving in on you. Know that you're not alone. Know that things always, the one constant in life is that things will always change. So if you can just focus on, like I said, trying to see the gift in everything, in every experience, in every interaction, in every relationship, and everything that you go through, I think it'll carry you far. For me personally, it hasn't let me down yet. It's just more of creating that ritual around feeling gratitude instead of looking at the things that you want to change and wishing they could be different. There's so much more gained in looking at the beauty. I love you so much. Sending you all the love, sending you patience with yourself, and sending you just tons of light, sending you love and light. Bye.